My life would be. My dog insists on sitting here, so this is risky. Chapter 5. The book is The Only Planet of Choice. Translator Phyllis V Schlemmer, edited by Mary Bennett. A provocative mind-opening experience, essential briefings from deep space. Tom calls himself Tom and speaks for the collective, which is the group from deep space. Page 55, Chapter 5, Visitations. Many people use the word alien to describe a visitor from outer space. Extraterrestrial is another word, which is rather more user-friendly. For the sake of the question and answer format, the word used by the questioners has been left, though even Tom questions our use of alien. Should we wish to foster openness between all beings of the universe, perhaps we should also look at our vocabulary. In a discussion between Andrew and Tom many years earlier, Andrew had asked Tom about the UFOs and whether they were created manifestations. Tom had replied, "Many of the flying things that you call UFOs come from our place, but they come from other places also, and they do come in physical form. But many of them are not physical. They are like your movie screen." This chapter began with a conversation between Tom and two guests in 1991. I believe when he talks about movie screen, he talks about a hologram. But this is all from the 70s and 80s. Published, it was 93. So they are like your movie screens, means holographic. Tom, Elatin is one of the 24 civilizations responsible for unifying the energies of the 24 with those of your planet for its evolution into greatness, and this in bringing to humankind information in a form of communication that registers in the ground. This is Tom speaking for the collective. Others on planet Earth have come from different civilizations in the universe. Those from Hoover have come and have been implanted on 3 occasions. Others have come from other civilizations. And then there are some from civilizations not evolved to the same level as that of those with collective consciousness. The origins of humankind did not evolve from the animals of earth matter. The origins of humankind did not evolve from the animals of earth matter. There was one group which emerged by itself. All others were colonized and merged to create species. Guest. This is a question and answer. Guest. Do we have any particular connection with those of the constellation of Lyra who moved to the Pleiades? Tom. Those that have been seeded on this planet Earth have also been seeded in other systems in your galaxy. The Pleiades are in your Earth galaxy. Know that there are some of them in that arena that have great negativity. Do you know that? John. Are you saying that the beings in the Pleiades are also cousins of ours? That they have been seeded as we have? Tom. That is correct, yes. Guest 2. Is one of the governments of planet Earth working in conjunction with a group from another source, from Reticulum, which is 37 light years from Earth? Tom. That is also within this galaxy. There are government agencies upon this planet Earth that have awareness of other species within your galaxy. There are many. Alathine does not come from your galaxy. Neither do we. Those within this galaxy could be said to be working within a corporation. If you have a mega corporation in which has many divisions within it, then within these divisions there will be units that manufacture or sell or service without necessarily knowing who owns them. If you go into an individual unit, you would find the manager of that unit, but this person would not be the general manager of that unit, and this person would not be the manager of the whole corporation. That is the order of this galaxy. Do not limit yourself or tie yourself only to the solar system of your own galaxy. Guest. Can I ask if the current phenomenon we call crop circles that are being formed in England are being created from outside planet Earth? Tom. That is so. When anything takes place within your solar system, it is imprinted and then is manifested on Earth. Guest: could you please explain a bit more about the thinking behind the messages that are coded within the corn circles? What is the purpose? Tom: it is of great importance for humankind to have the understanding of other realities of existence within your universe, of other systems of energy with the capability of bringing these two into reality from great extensions of time, forms and matter. For you humankind to question their origins, their expansion of mind, and the time of now. Those of the 24 civilizations have come to your planet Earth. Those of other civilizations have often visited. Since the beginning of humankind's history, visits have been made by others very frequently. Please see your historical records. To this date has not made an impression on humankind, for these other realities have been mostly eliminated from humankind's programming. As this planet Earth is moving towards its evolutionary importance, and the reason for its existence, for it is, as you know, the only planet with freedom of choice, those civilizations are attempting to bring to humankind information concerning other beings, other species, other energy forms, so that humankind may look on this question it, and then probe into it. The challenge is to present an alternative, one to question, is it not? You have now been alerted to those energy fields that are in existence. Guest: are there any specific ideas behind the patterns that are formed in the crop circles? Is there an intended program to help us build a picture of what it is being presented within the crop circles? Tom: now, reason, investigate and contemplate this thoroughly. All that has been sent into space from Earth is being reflected back, so that those of Earth may understand that when you create a situation that might be catastrophic, it may then impress upon the mind of the people the effect that one unit can make it all. John: how many scientific and governmental organizations have made the connections or made such connection interpretations yet? Tom: are you not the forerunners? John: we are wondering if they have reached a conclusion on their own, or whether this project is one that is going to release that information. Tom: yes. However, be aware that there are many groups creating them to distort the real purpose. It is not possible to speak about these at this time, for humankind could not comprehend, for the disbelief would then add no credibility. Some circles are from civilizations who wish of the Most High, and there are some others who wish to confuse and add their appendix too. It is timely to create a shaking brain in humankind, to question, as you are now doing. Guess 2. Is it possible to give any clues for circle researchers, so that they can distinguish which is a genuine crop formation worth looking at, and what are the others there to confuse? Tom: the one of confusion have brokens. It is a type of damage. Guess: damage of the stem of the corn in the field. Tom: yes. Guess 2. So the circles which have stems which are neatly bent, those are the ones which are not damaged, just bent. Those are the ones which are... Tom: they are twirled. There are many civilizations, not all. They are sub-civilizations. What is important is not what is done by whom. What is important is the observation of other realms. Let the personalities of humans move their own hair out of their own eyes. There will be more, and there will be less. In some areas, there will be more, and where there were more, there will be less. Yes? It is not just humankind that attempts to confuse. Guest 2. In a couple of the circles last year, 1991, some researchers detected radioactivity of a particular kind which is not found on planet Earth. Tom: does it not make sense that the vehicles that are able to go through space-time envelope dimensions radiate differently? Guess We wonder why humankind is as dense as its planet. Guess 2. Well, we're slowly awakening, and certainly the crop formations are adding to the awakening of those who are focusing on them. Tom, think about this also. As atmospheric damage is done and created, it creates fields of energy that can upset the vegetation upon planet Earth. You understand that this atmosphere that encircles planet Earth is a protective device? You understand that there is influence from other planetary positions, and when there are mouse holes in the atmosphere, then there are from other planetary positions energy fields that may affect vegetation, yes? Guess 2. When you talk about planetary positions, do you mean planets in our solar system or in a larger spectrum? Tom, in your system, planets that have devices upon them left in times past. We wish not at this time to go into detail. Our being, Phyllis, is in weakness. Therefore, we ask you only to ask urgent questions. Yes? The latter part of that transmission, which ended there, took place in 1992. Here's another exchange. From early 1990 with particular emphasis on technology. Brian, I wanted to ask some questions about a recent 1990-1991 series of statements made in the United States concerning the presence of extraterrestrial vehicles in the Nevada area. Is there any general comments you could make about the authenticity of those statements? Tom, as many are aware, the reality of lesser civilizations in physicalness upon this planet Earth is a fact. As they have technologies and information, do not create the mistake of believing their higher motivations at all times in visiting your planet Earth. A portion of this motivation is indeed prepared for utilizing, if necessary, Earth species for their own environment on their own planets. Not all are here for the betterment of planet Earth, although there are those who do work for the betterment of planet Earth. They have physical existence. Brian, are you saying that there is more than one group involved in the experiments at the Nevada test site? Tom, there exists at this time a totality of 12 different groups, physical civilizations, that have come to Earth for investigation of the environment. Not all are well-meaning. The Council has said, I must be clear to you, not all are creating experiments. Brian, it would appear that some of the technology involved in the vehicles they have brought here is on the verge of being discovered by people here on Earth. Will there be an attempt to prevent those discoveries from being utilized and developed? Tom, do you mean by other civilizations or by those of the anti-people on planet Earth? Brian, I'm speaking of discoveries being made by physicists here on Earth. I'm wondering, will their efforts be prevented in any way by the aliens? Tom, that is not the purpose of those that you call aliens. Why are they aliens? John, well, it's just a word we use for anything that does not come from Earth. Tom, yes. John, you say that this is not their purpose. Could you state what their purpose is specifically? Tom, there are several purposes. Those that have a well-meaning are working for prevention of total destruction of planet Earth and to oversee it and, if necessary, prevent a totality of ending. For in the ending of it, it would take so much time to start over again that it is not possible to start again. The situation of planet Earth also is that its destructiveness would then create an energy that then could affect other systems of the universe. There are those who also would wish to come here because they have begun the destruction of their own home physical planet and are looking for a place to relocate themselves. Therefore, they're experimenting upon humankind and animal kind for testing available possibilities. Brian, what will happen to the man who has told us about this? Will he be punished in some ways? Tom, as you know, upon your planet Earth, the country of USA has created a secret situation amongst its people that cannot be revealed. They have not revealed the facts. Therefore all attempts will be made to create injustice to him. If there comes a time upon your planet Earth when people function as a unified force against those philosophical beliefs that are not correct, such as destruction of the truth-telling people, then people will involve themselves, and if enough people do so, they cannot punish all people. John. If enough people know about it, that will be a protection to him, in a sense. Tom. In protest, yes. John. Now the people, American people who are working where he was working, what is their motive of working with these aliens, as we are calling them? Tom. You speak of leadership, not of others? John. I'm talking of the people in Nevada, the scientists and the leadership there. Presumably they're interested for military purposes, or what? Tom. There are those who have interest in the betterment of humankind, and there are those who have the greatest concern about other aliens approaching planet Earth. Therefore, they seek technological information for stopping their arrival. Brian, I see. Will the efforts to understand the alien technology be successful? Tom. They are but a small percentage away from completion. Brian, is the technology in the alien vehicles the same as the condensed charge technology that I'm aware of? John. Yes. The Star of David is 2 triangles. Tom. Instead of repulsion by magnetic charge, is it attraction by magnetic charge? Brian. Well, the alien vehicles operate by controlling gravity, it seems. Tom. Which has to do with the discharge of magnetics. It has to do with creating a magnetic field. That is the discharge. When you release the magnetic, when you function with a magnetic, you draw all things to you. When you know how to discharge, then the propulsion is reversed. To operate and release gravitational fields is related to magnetic fields. Brian. Well, all the descriptions say nothing about magnetic fields. They talk about gravitational fields, which are different, and they say it requires a special element, element 115. Do you know what 115 is? Tom. That releases the magnetic attraction. John. Are you saying that when you use the word magnetic, it is the same as when we are using the term gravitational here? Tom. If you have attraction, an energy field that holds upon your planet Earth, that is magnetic. John. Okay, we use different terms. Brian. One of the things that happened was when they put a burning candle flame in the field, Tom, it created a vacuum. John. A time vacuum. Tom. Do you understand that in this moment it is possible to move quickly, for non-friction is created? Brian. So there is no action-reaction. Tom. There is freedom. Brian. How soon do you think there will be more information released about these vehicles and about... Tom. Do you speak of information release? They will not release the information. John. Had they been asked by the aliens to keep it a secret also? Tom. That is correct. They are working in conjunction with them. John. So it is a fully cooperative venture? John. Tom. In some ways, in others it is not. John. So there are some holding back by both sides. Are you saying that the aliens are also holding back the different motives that you already mentioned with the people in Nevada? Tom. There are those who were working in conjunction with these lesser civilizations, and these civilizations began to control them. There are other civilizations that do not cooperate with this, and are in effect eliminated in physicalness. Do you understand that? Tom. Yes. John. Yes. Tom. Out of fear, the government of USA and others are in cooperation. John. Well, that was the next question. Are there other groups of aliens working with any other governments in a similar way, in other parts of the world? Tom. There have been many visitations, physical appearances and accidents that have been funneled to the USA, and there are also attempts in Russia and investigations in cooperation with the USA. John. So is that project continuing at this moment in Russia? Or is that something that happened in the past and is no longer in existence? Tom. There is in informational exchange with USA. Brian, are the alien people involved in the Nevada experiments? Are they involved in any genetic experiments on human beings? Tom, those are ones who wish to know if they may exist upon planet Earth by taking samples of tissue for culturing. Brian, so this same group that has provided the vehicle is also involved in genetic research? Tom, if you would use that terminology, yes, we would say to you, be in great caution. Brian, well, that was my next question. Is it dangerous to persist in trying to learn more about this? Tom, it is important to assimilate, to be in form of observation, but to be in great caution, and move in great caution when getting involved in information from others, and be in caution of any from that you call reticulum in your Milky Way. Be careful of those who say they are from there. John, at what level in the United States is this project controlled? Tom, the highest level. John, so is it from the President down, is it? Tom, he's not the one who controls, but the head of state was involved in the past. This is an exceptional matter. The conversation took place in 1990. John, so is it the CIA who controls the project? Tom, that term's not correct. It's not in a form. This is the creation of an element that is above that. What is important is that you begin to understand the implication. In times past, humanity did not comprehend the information we have given about the civilization and the Council of Nine. Now it is important to comprehend and know that what was begun in times past does exist and continue. And it is time for humankind to know the importance of this information, but in a time where there can be directness, without interference from the governments of humankind. Steve, I would like you to speak about the emphasis you were giving in the mid-1970s. There was at the time a great emphasis on the appearance of beings to intervene in the critical world situation, and this did not occur. Perhaps some brief explanation of why it was so much stressed at the time, and whether it might still be an option? Tom says, there have been sightings of other civilizations, not all helpful to planet Earth, and there has also been contact with several people that have authority in different countries on your planet Earth. There was also agreement between several countries not to permit information about this to be released in public, and also to eliminate portions of their destructive devices against each other, for fear of other civilizations permeating planet Earth. Those who do not at all times have benefit towards this planet Earth have also made agreement with some countries of planet Earth, out of fear of reprisal. John and Steve. Reprisal? Tom. Reprisal. The 24 civilizations and those that are in conjunction with them would arrive if planet Earth were on the brink of destruction from those lesser civilizations. Those wish to maintain planet Earth in its state of being. These wish to maintain planet Earth in its state of being, for they have also looked upon it as a vehicle for themselves. The 24 civilizations also will not permit a complete takeover, but humankind must have awareness of the existence of the 24, and those working in conjunction, and those of others, and of these others. Then there can be a correct sense of judgment when information about extraterrestrial is received. Those of the other lesser civilizations also bide time, for they are playing wait and see. You are asked about the landing which we mentioned in your year 1976. It was not appropriate for the 24, for we wished not to have the responsibility for physical interactions which would create more pollutionary destruction of Earth. Humankind already creates enough pollution destructions. Is that clear? Steve, much of it is, but I'm not very clear about pollution would be caused by intervention. Tom, those lesser civilizations who have been viewing planet Earth, who have made contacts with governments, and who are in portion in beings upon planet, and are in this realm as well, would have warlike conflict with 24 civilizations, or those who work with them. Therefore, that would mean a destructive device in the atmosphere of planet Earth. Humankind, in its great fear, would not have acknowledged or understood that they were those of godness also. John, because they would only see the two groups. Tom, destruction. Tom, destroying each other. Tom, that is correct. And that would then create nightmarish pollution, destructiveness of portions of planet Earth. must find another way of removing these others at this time. Steve. There seems to be an implication that several landings had in fact already occurred. Tom. That is correct. It is known. That is correct. Hold on. That is correct. It is known by Russia, by the government of USA and other countries where there is a communication with these two countries. Also, it helped bring about the end of the non-speaking to each other, for they knew that they must now begin to be speaking with each other. We speak of the, you call them biggies. John, the two superpowers. This was year 1990. Tom, for they knew that if they stayed in separateness, they then could not survive. Steve, is this because they interpreted their findings as being dangerous to Earth? Tom, yes. Steve, they regarded the alien civilizations as the enemy. Tom, those that have been interplaying, yes. John, so what you're saying is that the civilizations that have come to Earth have not come and allowed themselves to interact willingly. It has been done with some tension and conflict, for example, in the United States. Tom, that is not what we meant. Those that have been in contact with these governments and with those vehicles, which governments have got hold of some of these incidents, have been accidental. Some have been intentional. But in giving, they have attempted to ingratiate, and the biggies have decided they must align, for they are not sure of the motives of these civilizations. Their motives are not in goodness, and they also have abductions. John, they have taken away, abducted some people. Tom, that is correct. The biggies of planet Earth decided to align with each other so that they might keep a cohesive front. John, yes, so basically what you're saying is that the 24 civilizations decided to stay away so as not to get mixed up with these other forces, either in people's minds or in fact in a conflict. Tom, that is correct. John, yes, okay, well, so what next? Tom, if they can influence the Crescent, the Islamic countries, that is why the country of USA is attempting to change that situation. If they can activate the Crescent or cause irritation, they then create a situation upon Earth which is divisive. And the lesser civilizations then move into a position that may create more devastation. We of the Council of Nine, you must understand that we must function in a matter that does not bring fear of devastation. It is important for humankind to know that there are others who mean well for them and wish only to help the elevation of planet Earth. We will not permit the destruction of planet Earth, but humankind must begin to help itself and make decisions based on the survival of planet Earth. Steve, what you are saying is good news and bad news, because we had thought in 1988 that the rapprochement between the great powers signified a development and heightening of awareness and consciousness, and perhaps a becoming of rationality into international affairs. Tom, that time the threat of force brought that rapprochement, though it does not matter if it was force or willingness, for in the togetherness they have become partners against another threat that may bring destructiveness, and in togetherness they see each other as humans, so they benefited planet Earth. Mickey, could you tell us about the circumstances in which a major landing of the 24 civilization on Earth would be carried out? Tom, if it were an imperative to land because of major destruction upon planet Earth, then the civilization would amass over the major city to cause those in power to stop the destruction. There are those in the atmosphere of Earth and those in closeness to your planet Earth that would make themselves quickly visible if there were the necessity. Atia also said to tell you that plans for a landing has currently on hold, for at this time it would create chaos. For the percentage of human accepting the civilization existence is insufficient, and also because we do not want to cause warlike attack by humans on the visitors of the civilization. However, we assure you that if planet Earth were near major destruction, the civilizations would arrive and stop it. Mickey, is it only in case of big danger for this world that a landing would happen? Tom, it would happen when those of the planet Earth do not feel a need to attack, or if there were great danger on planet Earth, then in any consequence it will happen. But currently they are on hold, yes. I will explain about the landing and what it means to your planet. Our technology first of all will help you to understand how to raise your vegetables, your cattle, to purify your water, and to raise the vibration of souls, to bring them out of darkness. When we say darkness, we do not mean negativity, but true darkness, in which people do not see and do not understand the cosmic. And they also do not understand that when they hate and have anger, this creates a problem for the universe. Only by raising the level of this planet and the level of consciousness of this planet, perfecting the love and perfecting the core that is inside each human, can we then go on and perfect other planets in the galaxies. This planet is one of the lowest that a soul comes to in order to learn a lesson. The tragedy is the density of the planet. It is like a mire. It is sticky, and these beings get trapped in this stickiness. We're going to raise the level of this planet with your help, which will make this planet a higher planet, a lighter planet. The energy then coming from this planet will be sent into the universe and will help raise the level of consciousness and the levels of other planets. Do you understand that principle? Andrew: yes. Now I take it that this will also come out in the new science that you once said you're giving us? Tom: this is true. There will be mutations. Also your planet will be raised to that type of vibration where there will be physical relationships, but it will not be the primary concern. This energy will be put to use to preserve this planet. We do not object to sex, and it's none of our business as far as your physical relationships are concerned. We realize the necessity of physical relationships, but we are speaking of raising the level of the vibration so the energy is not dissipated in physical relationship. These new beings are coming to your planet and are being born on your planet, and the children that have the sonars in them. I was going to try to give you the names of the different galaxies and planets that these beings come from to help the Earth, but the names are difficult in your language. Andrew: oh, thank you. My dog's just put his head on my knee. Oh, thanks. Tom: you are disturbed about something. Andrew: no, not really. I simply know that what you are saying is beautiful and rings clear, and it's like getting zapped. Tom: yes, I understand. Would you just give a simple description of what landing would be like? Tom: a landing would not take place all at one time. It would start, and for 9 days there would be landings taking place all over this planet. There would be visual landings with many types of craft, but before we landed we would radiate out a beam that would nullify the fear in people. Films and books have planted a seed of recognition of us, and people will remember. And this energy, the beam that we send out, will come from the seed energy that is already planted. John: I understand that the major spiritual events that take place from time to time on Earth can happen in different forms. Is the form of a landing chosen because of the sort of belief and understanding that people have at this particular time in space age? Tom: humanity is now coming out of the true dark ages of this planet, and is now becoming aware of the existence of other life forms in other parts of this universe. And humanity is now beginning to understand that there is more than themselves. People have always assumed that there was something sitting up there taking care of all their problems, but they have also assumed through their egos that they were the only existence that mattered, to that which they call God, and that God was only concerned with them. Humans now have to look within and begin to understand that there are other forms of life, and that the universe does not evolve just around humanity. John: the beings that might come in such a landing, would they remain on the Earth to be teachers among people? Tom: there will be some that would remain, and there would be those of ours that would continue on, because this planet then will begin to evolve in its truest sense. We will then be able to go on and to work in other areas. This has been a major project, and has taken many hundreds and thousands of your years and much energy. John: the beings that would remain, would they collectively represent the Christ, or will the Christ be one of them? Tom: you must remember that all of you and all of us have the Christ within us. It will be a collective consciousness. Andrew: yes, there would be no great single figures that would... Tom: you are all leaders. We are all leaders. In the following transmission, Tom uses the word catastrophe, and as with many words in our language, the meaning has become limited. Apart from the usual interpretation of disaster, the Oxford Dictionary informs us that catastrophe can also mean overturning, or a sudden turn, or the change which produces the final event of a drama. In geological terms, it can mean a sudden and violent physical change. In geological terms, it can mean a sudden and violent physical change. In an event producing a subversion of the order of system of things. So this transmission becomes rather different in meaning when all the shading of the word are remembered. Tom may have difficulties with pronunciation sometimes, but he never chooses the wrong word, and should there be a vocabulary problem, he always indicates when a word is not descriptive, as he would like it to be. Tom. The preparation of the 24 civilizations in gathering forces is to make people upon Earth aware and alert, to bring the prevention of greater difficulties. Apocalyptic prophecies are not necessary to be fulfilled if those that exist upon planet Earth have awareness and understanding, but also what is in prophecies, such as the Book of Revelations, may only be modified by the souls that exist upon the planet Earth. Remember this: without meditation, without love for humanity, without prayers, without love for planet Earth, there would be many serious catastrophes. But with prayer and love, it is possible to release the pressure. When the time of decision, but with prayer and love, it is possible to release the pressure. When the time of decision on planet Earth comes, all the universe will be working in conjunction with humanity to release the pressure upon planet Earth. But if within you humans, and we speak to all of you, if you generate great fear, then this negates part of that which the civilizations are trying to do, to prevent catastrophe. It is possible to prevent catastrophe completely, and we would hope that can be done. But there is a possibility that catastrophe will not be negated totally, for there are those that oppose you, that are functioning to control the planet Earth. Andrew, what in the Book of Revelations would correspond to what is happening right now in the world? This is 1990, yeah? Tom, it is the beginning of the last of the seals, yes? I could imply destruction is what the civilization and conscious people on Earth are doing is not accomplished. But on the other side, it implies that blessings are coming from the civilizations to planet Earth. Do you understand? Andrew, yes, I understand the dual implications. It depends on how everything works out, in terms of the energy we put into it. Tom, we are sure that what we wish will be accomplished, so that your angel in the Book of Hoover will shower blessings from the civilizations, so your government leaders, the leaders of your societies, and your religions will then have to ask questions about whence this comes, this shower of energy. Yes? If the 24 civilizations come in mass landings on your planet Earth, there will not be any that would doubt the teachings they bring. There will not be any person who would have a question, for they will have the understanding that comes from what you call God. That is positive and of benefit. But if humanity causes its own extinction, then billions of souls are trapped within the Earth spheres for millions upon millions of your years. The bottlenecking has already stopped the growth of the universe. It is necessary for the civilizations to have an influence, for there is not time for humanity to come to a solution within itself, alone without help. So the civilizations come with great love to help people upon planet Earth, to help them help themselves. Yes? Ian, could you tell me how they plan to effect this, to help man arise and grow spiritually? What do they plan to do if they should come? Tom, there is in each civilization a different manifestation of love. Althea will proceed with technology to bring forth knowledge of non-destructive technologies which work in unison with the nature of planet Earth to help with production without destruction. Aragon will come with knowledge and wisdom and the ability to release disruption and pain within a physical body, for it is Aragon's concern to relieve humans of bondage arising from the influence of physical pain. Such relief can free the mind. That does not mean there will be not suffering, for there will be those that choose to suffer, but those upon whom suffering and disease has been inflicted by mankind, not by their soul's choice, can then be helped, to give such souls an opportunity to perform what was their true choosing. Ashan will awaken the creativity in humans upon planet Earth, and through great music and great art will educate in the ways of the universe. With great love, Hoover of the Nazarene comes to bring love to the planet Earth. They will set down a system to begin to teach humans what they must do for themselves to help planet Earth and the souls that are trapped. They will explain the system of the universe, but most importantly, they will make humans aware that they are alone, that they alone are not in control of the universe, that they are not alone as beings, and that they must be responsible not only for themselves and for the planet, but also for the universe. For if humanity causes destruction of its planet, it is then responsible for millions of souls, and again, most importantly, they will instill in humans that life does not cease upon the earth upon the death of the physical body, so you can escape the consequences of what you've done. That is most important. And again, most important, they will instill in humans that life does not cease upon death of the physical body, so you can escape the consequences of what you've done. That is most important. Okay, Ian says. So could this civilization land, would they do this in conjunction with each other as a unit working together, or would they work separately? And if they work directly with people, would people be conscious of their workings with them on this dimensional level? Tom. There are the civilizations of 24, and there are those that work in service to the 24. They would work in harmony together to show man the necessity of nations and civilizations working together. There would be some that would come first, then others later. Then they would work together. Those that do not work together, that is a clue for you, for they are not from us. You are aware that there would be those of the opposition that would also attempt to come as well. Do you understand? Ian, I think so, but I'd like some clarification. Are they of other civilizations, or can they also be of the same 24 civilizations? Tom, they are not of the 24, they are others. In answer to your question, we have not completed your answer. People will be conscious of those of the civilization. In many cases, in the beginning, people will not know, but there will be those that they do know, that do know. And through them, all will know to know who and what we are. And again, in another occasion, Mickey, if there should be a landing of the others, by that I mean the opposition, is there a way for us to recognize them immediately? Tom, there will be a method. If there were a landing that is not in good motivation, it would be negative in its outcome. Remember this, by their works you should know them. In each situation you will know, for they cannot hide their attempt to gain authority and superiority. They come not in gentleness, they come in superiority. Mickey, is there a way for us to protect ourselves from negative energies? Tom, if each person, together with others, in each family, group and community, thinks of others with love, with devotion, with the wish for goodness for each other, that is your protection. For then, that energy becomes like a ball, as all energy that is collective becomes a ball. That is your protection from negative influence. You are a circle of light. We observe, we see your motive. Your motivation is your protection, yes? Ian, I want to ask about Hoover. I asked you earlier to define what different areas of work the civilizations would do if they came, and the statement was made that Hoover would be bringing love. I was wondering if you could give more of a specific definition of what you meant by that love, and what would they do to that end? Tom, you understand that the nature of love in your human world? There is love that is possession of convenience. There is love that is possession of convenience. In the case of Hoover, those people that come in contact will not be able at first to recognize the true strength and energy of love, for this contact will bring to them awakeness and the opening of their heart to understand that love is all-giving. is not selfish, has no possession, has no ego, and arises from the wish to give, to bring peace to all. Hoover will accomplish that. When those who are in contact experience the releasing of love, they in turn will be able to release others' love. You have had experience in your existence of the purest love, but for you it stays but a moment. Hoover will bring it to stay not a moment, but for all existence. Love is the only thing it overcomes. We speak of the true love of all. This is about knowledge and wisdom, for there is a difference between them. Wisdom cannot be communicated, for on many occasions wisdom sounds like foolishness. For there are no words to communicate wisdom. It is but a knowing. That is nearly the same as love. It is difficult to communicate what love is or what feeling is in combination with wisdom and knowing. The Hoovits will bring that. But love also means not to give for satisfaction of self. Love is also strength. It is discipline for the benefit of yourself and others, but it is always love. Ian, how would they affect this? Tom, there is a radiation that generates from those of the civilizations Hoover, but it would also come from your brothers of the sea, dolphins. For their energy is the greatest, and in water it may be released. Do you understand that love is the most powerful energy of all? Ian, yes I do. One last question. If they come, will it be in the form of that, is like a humanite form, or will they be recognizable as other than human in body? Tom, they will be recognizable as other than human in body, for there is that which glows from them, which will be seen by everyone. All civilization of physicalness have a form of body similar to what you call your human form. For in all civilizations it is natural to have forms of legs and arms and torso. For as physical form it is easier to be able to function on a physical plane, but it is the degree of the glow that is of great strength. It does not dissipate in your density, but it elevates your density, yes? Ian, yes, I am to understand that they glow like the glow that one has seen in pictures of Jesus. Tom, Jesus of Hoover, is he not? John, I understand now, 1979, that the landing which could have been a possibility in 1976 has diminished in importance. I'd like to clarify with you what your mission is now. Tom, there has not in truth been a vast change. In the beginning we brought news to you that it was important for those on your planet Earth to have the knowledge of the existence of other civilizations, and an understanding, even belief, that there are those that are in great readiness to help them. It has not changed that your planet Earth is a great bottleneck, neither that those that exist on Earth have contaminated it greatly. If you will recall, we always maintained the importance of the civilized world having acceptance of this, another to prevent great catastrophes and disaster for you, and for the civilization that would come upon your Earth. We want to tell you about the importance of the nation of Israel, not for its own importance, but because it is a microcosm. Until they come to peace within, understanding and openness, then planet Earth cannot come to a breakthrough. Our purpose and the civilization's purpose has not changed. John, when you say that it is important that people know of the existence of other beings, is it important that they should expect the arrival of those beings? Tom, it is in truth inevitable that at some time there will be a visitation to your planet Earth. We would wish that it may come with arms open for greeting. We have explained that if it's needed because of a major disaster, particularly in warlikeness, a landing would happen to prevent that. But we would prefer that such a landing would take place in openness, yes? When there is acceptance by the mass, so that the governments of the world could not attempt to attack the civilization, the acceleration of evolution would grow. Again, in 1980, the question of a landing was brought up. John, one more question on the time you plan to intervene with a landing. Tom, we explained the necessity of having the civilized world understand and accept the possibility of existence of other beings in other parts of the universe, in order not to create disaster, war, panic, destruction of self. Do you remember? John, absolutely yes. Tom, if there were an attempt to destroy your planet Earth, we would not permit it. But until you humans have at least a marginal comprehension, coming to planet Earth would not have value, for humans would feel in captivity, or destructive towards those whom they assume are captors. When it reaches the point that the planet Earth, which in reality is a spaceship, is in perfection, and those that live upon it keep in balance, then 24 civilizations will be seen, and they would land visibly in their vehicles. Humankind is not ready to accept us without creating destructions. If you will remember, we said to you that we would intervene if there were imminent total destruction of planet Earth by nuclear forces, did we not? The governments of humankind are not yet ready to accept us without extreme confrontation. In the shift of consciousness necessary for making planet Earth a light vehicle, this acceptance and understanding of other civilizations will come. We have recognized that a premature landing would create great animosity as well as aggression, because of lack of understanding, yes? John, the preparation at that time then was in case you had to intervene in the event of nuclear destruction, and since then we are now past that time. As I understand, you will not intervene until 75% of the people are awake. Is that correct? Tom, that may change, given a situation of destruction. However, there is a figure close to 60% of USA who believe in the possibility of the existence of other civilizations. The critical issue is that people need to understand that civilizations will come without confrontation. John, but if most of the people of the Earth are already that awake, then it surely will not necessary to make a landing, because they will then be able to change things on Earth of their own free will. Tom, that is correct, but it is not beneficial for one evolved soul to meet another. But is it not beneficial for one evolved soul to meet another? Mickey, yes. Why has there not been any proof of any possible landing? If there were so many UFOs so close, why wasn't it possible to give proof so that people know for sure? Tom, there is proof in your USA. There is proof in the country of Switzerland. If you mean the capture of an entity and capture of a ship as proof, that would probably be the only acceptable proof for the nations of the world. Mickey, yes. Tom, if one came from the heart, with love, into a nation, if one walked out with open arms, then there would be destruction of that entity. Is that not so? John, I think so. Then, Tom, then that creates another set of circumstances of debt, and the planet must then work from that. Is that clarity? Mickey and John, yes. Tom, may I ask you a question? Do you believe in the creator called God? Mickey, yes. Tom, can you prove God exists? Mickey, no. Tom, thank you. Mickey, we were joking today. We would love it if you landed in front of this house tonight. Tom, we would love it also. But if we did all that, you would all have, I said, wet our pants. Yes, Tom, that's our laugh. Mickey, well, I guess that too. Tom, that would be permissible. Ends on a laughter. So, this was until page 76, and the next chapter is page 77, and it's chapter 6 and called The Others, which I will do another time.